Hi everyone, today I am here with CLAT Nation 2026 which will facilitate you for your early preparation for the CLAT exam 26. I am Joseph from Mentors Academy. Now here we have passages for your CLAT exam from the English part. The main item which you will have to face is reading comprehension. So you will be given a passage. These passages are sensational articles related to science, related to environment, or related to popular events. Okay, so you will be given a passage of 3 to 4 paragraphs. You will have to read out the entire passage, comprehend. Comprehend means understand. Understand each and every part. Then answer the questions. There are questions given, maybe 10-12 questions will be there. You will have to answer each and every question. Now, while you answer questions, there will be different options. So, it is up to you to infer which option is correct. So, the argument of the author is given in the passage. Now, when there are options, we will have to compare and contrast each option and come to the conclusion which one is the right one. Now, for you, I will be doing the first passage. I will read, explain, and I will try to find the answers for you. After that, the following passages you will have to do by yourself. So, let us go to the first passage. Okay, the passage starts with a sentence: the southwest monsoon stormed into Kerala a week ahead of scheduled arrival on June 1st. So, it speaks about the monsoon period in Kerala. As you know, there are two monsoons. One is the southwest monsoon, the other one is the northeast monsoon. Now, it is believed that the onset of the monsoon is on 1st June in Kerala. It starts from the bottommost state of Kerala, that is bottommost state of India, that is Kerala. Okay, so it's about abnormal weather patterns. So here the author speaks about some abnormality in the rain pattern which we have received in 2025, early start. So instead of starting in June, the monsoon has already commenced on the 24th of May. I will read the passage for you. Please understand the matter conveyed by the author in the passage. The southwest monsoon stormed into Kerala a week ahead. So normally if it is 1st of June, a week ahead is 23, 24 or 25. A week ahead of its scheduled arrival on June 1st. This was not a surprise because as early as the first week of May. So we have received in past history about the rainfall in Kerala. Kerala has already experienced the early stages of rain, say in the first week of May. Meteorologists had tipped off. Tip off means give a hint, give a sign, or give an early information, that is tip off the country about its early arrival over the Andaman Sea. See, the bottommost part of Indian Union is Andaman, Nicobar Islands. Okay, a crucial pit stop. Pit stop means a temporary stay, something. Suppose we overhaul a vehicle, there is a pit there. Or a temporary rest at a place is also called a pit stop. Before its advent, advent means starting, commencement. Before its starting over Kerala. So the first region which experiences rain in India is the Andaman Nicobar Islands and then Kerala, which should start normally on the 1st of June. But here we have a week ahead, that is 24th. But additional support from a pre-cyclonic circulation. Read that again. But additional support from a pre-cyclonic circulation. So there was a turbulence in the Arabian Sea. Pre-monsoon turbulence. Additional support from a pre-cyclonic circulation in the Arabian Sea gave it a tremendous surge. So that impact, that turbulence, that wind took these clouds into Kerala early enough. So there was a disturbance, there was a turbulence. So the reason for the early onset of monsoon is additional support from a pre-cyclonic circulation in the Arabian Sea gave it a tremendous surge. So surge means pushing forward. Understand? Surge means pushing forward. So these clouds, these rain-bearing clouds were pushed into Kerala because of a pre-cyclonic circulation. Okay. Due to which several parts of Maharashtra and the Konkan coast saw the monsoon reach their shores earlier than anticipated. So the early occurrence of rain is not only experienced not merely in Kerala alone, but you go to Karnataka, Konkan region is there, the coast of Karnataka, the coast of Maharashtra. So they also experienced simultaneously with Kerala experiencing early rains. The other two states on the western coast of India, that is Karnataka and Maharashtra. Karnataka, Maharashtra share the Konkan coast. So the monsoon reached their shores earlier than anticipated. It was the first time in 35 years that Mumbai, see that town. So you have Mumbai, capital of Maharashtra there. So several parts of Maharashtra and Konkan coast saw the monsoon reach their shores earlier than anticipated. It was the first time in 35 years that Mumbai, which usually welcomes the monsoon around June 10. See that date. So normal onset of monsoon in Maharashtra or in Mumbai is June 10, but this year they have experienced that rain much earlier. So that is earlier onset. So a May onset. Suppose you are asked about which city experienced an early onset of rain. Which city as per the passage? Which is the city? Mumbai. Which is the city? Mumbai. How was the monsoon caused earlier? There was a pre-cyclonic movement in the Arabian Sea. So questions may come up from all this. So the first city which experienced the early onset of monsoon is Mumbai, as mentioned in the passage. That was an occurrence. It was the first time in 35 years. So previous 35 years, Mumbai has not experienced an early onset of monsoon on June 10, but this year in 2025, Mumbai received its first rainfall, first showers on June 10. Okay. Even prior to the onset, the India Meteorological Department, IMD, this is the official department which warns about, which foretells about onset of monsoon, early or delayed rainfall, they will inform the nation. So the Meteorological Department as far back in mid-April had forecast above normal monsoon. So another phenomenon, it's not only the early onset of monsoon, but also heavy showers, see, above normal. So who informed? See, their calculation or their forecasts are correct because the official department is the Indian Meteorological Department. So they had warned when as early as mid-April had forecast above normal monsoon. So not normal monsoon, this year we are going to have above normal. So more than the usual rain, above normal monsoon rainfall or 5%. So when data like this are given, you have to look at the factors. See, there is a 5 here, there is a 6 here, 5%, 6%. Now, when a question is given, you will have to verify whether it is 5 or 6, so pay attention. So how much above normal? Above normal monsoon rainfall or 5% more than the historical average of 87 centimeters. Okay, that's a factor. Historical average is 87 centimeters. So it's going to be 5% above this rainfall, the previous 87 years average. So normal average exceeding rain is 5% more. Following the monsoon's onset, it has retained this outlook. Retained means this outlook has been proven correct. So after the monsoon, rain has increased much more than the previous years. How much? Above normal rain, and has since increased to 6%. So the forecast was 5%, but actually received is up to June is 6% above the average. So suppose you are asked a question about a historical average of 87%, how much more than that? Then the answer should be 5%, not 6%. 6% is the abnormal or more rain we have received so far this year. It may go up to 7 or 8%, we cannot say, but the forecast is 5% above the historical average of 87 previous years. Okay. One of the quirks means abnormality, out of exceptions. One of the exceptions of how the IMD measures monsoon rainfall. See, we calculate rainfall. Suppose the monsoon onset was on the 24th of May. We start day 1 of the monsoon from that day, and then we calculate the amount of rain we have received during the entire monsoon period. Suppose the monsoon period ends on September 30, then we should actually measure from May 24th. But what is the quirk or the abnormality or the exception in measuring rainfall by the Indian Meteorological Department, they still stick to June 1st as the onset. So their calculation starts. So that is an exception. One of the quirks, that means exception, abnormalities of how the Indian Meteorological Department measures monsoon rainfall is that it only counts rainfall from June 1st to September 30. So even though the monsoon has started on June 24th, they do not take that into consideration. So that 1 week's rain is left out. This is an exceptional method which IMD uses. Okay, June 1st to September 30, that is their measurement as monsoon. They consider that period only as the real monsoon rainfall. So whatever rainfall we have received before that is excluded. So this is an exception, a variation from the normal method which they should have used. Okay, thus all the rain that has flooded Kerala, Mumbai and other cities since May 24 when the monsoon landed. So all the rain which these South Indian states have received is accounted as pre-monsoon. So when a monsoon onset happens in the month of May, first week of May or last week of May, that entire period of May is left out because the calculation is of IMD starts from June 1st and this rainfall is considered as pre-monsoon. Please bear that in mind, pre-monsoon. So the rains received as part of the southwest monsoon is in the month, if it is in the month of May, then it is only considered as pre-monsoon and not the regular monsoon rainfall. In its update, the IMD said that it anticipates June to receive above normal. So they have already predicted that 5% more than historical average. So their anticipation, their earlier calculation is the rainfall anticipates June to receive above normal rains, which is already mentioned before, above normal. This means that the rains so far are mere trailer to what is. So whatever rain we have received in May is a trailer about what is going to come next. Okay, what is going to come later. So a later heavy rainfall, heavy showers are predicted in the month of June. Okay, anticipates June to receive above normal rains. This means that the rain so far means up to the end of May, are a mere trailer to what is to come. This could be good news for Kharif. So this is the Kharif season after this. During this monsoon, immediately after the monsoon, if you sow the seeds, that season is called Kharif sowing and help the country improve its stocks. So stocks of grain as well as shore up, means push up the reserves for exports. The way the monsoon and forecasts are framed in the Indian context is that more rain is seen as positive. So normally India depends very much on agriculture. Therefore, maximum amount of rainfall is welcomed throughout India. Shore up reserves for exports. So the way monsoon and forecast are framed in the Indian context is more rain is seen as positive given its connection to agriculture. See what I said. So rain helps very much in production. Okay, food grains. So agriculture, and that a large part of India is entirely reliant disconcertingly means worryingly, alarmingly, in a troubling manner, disconcertingly on the monsoon for a healthy crop. So we rely on the two monsoon for healthy crop. With accelerating urbanization, but there is another phenomenon in India. See, large numbers of people, they are moving into, there is a constant urbanization happening. So they are moving from villages as they find jobs. So big cities are there, but medium cities are being built. So heavy floods cause unnecessary difficulties in the urban population. See, one more important point over there. Though rainfall is good for agriculture, it is bad for what? With accelerating urbanization. Urbanization means making townships, making cities. So people flocking into towns and cities. Urbanization. Excess rains are not always an unmitigated good. So it cannot be felt as good. What is the reason? The floods that overwhelm cities. So cities cannot cope up with the situation of excess flood. The canals near the city, the sewage ways, they don't work well. So it gets clogged and the city population suffer. They cannot mobilize, they cannot go here and there. The entire city gets flooded. So the urban population suffers a lot if rain is more than the normal. Excess rain causes difficulty for urban people. That is what is mentioned. So there is good in the way of agriculture, but it is bad for urban population. The floods that overwhelm the cities are no longer restricted to the major metropolises. Mumbai, Hyderabad, Calcutta, Delhi, all major, Bangalore, major metropolises, government takes care of that. But there are medium cities which are being built, which cannot take in all the water, which cannot absorb all the water. The sewage system in medium to small towns may not be functioning that well. So it causes disturbance to the city population, major metropolises, but also the tier 2 and tier 3 towns. So disturbance is there to tier 2 and tier 3 towns, while several of these cities are not even equipped for normal rainfall. So regarding tier 2 and tier 3 cities, what is the difficulty? They are not equipped. They have not constructed enough sewage system. So all the water gets clogged up on the roads. So it is very difficult for persons to mobilize, persons to move out of their house. So difficulties are experienced by the urban population. Not even equipped for normal rainfall. Administration. State and central. So the state governments as well as the central governments must seriously incorporate the portent. Portent means a sign, signal, early warning. So the portent from climate change. So in India, what is happening at present, it's not only this year in 2025, maybe in the past 5 years, if you look at the weather pattern in India, the rainfall pattern in India, it is abnormal. So the populace of India, the people living in the tier 2 and tier 3 towns will have to take this into account. Abnormal rainfall pattern. Look there, incorporate the portent, this alarm, this signal, okay, from climate change. So you have to be aware about the pattern of rain, the pattern of weather. There are changes, climate change, which translates into citizens navigating erratic rainfall. So it is not the normal rainfall, erratic, mistaking, pattern is not regular, pattern is not like before, and greater disruptions from floods. So their disruptions means lot of troubles, lot of calamities, lot of sufferings, okay, disruptions from floods, while improved and high resolution forecasts are positive. So much of the IMD forecast, weather forecast is correct, okay. While improved, they have already improved very much. While improved and high resolution forecasts are positive. So it is there, positive development. They have limited value without a wide ranging societal effort to incorporate its warnings to improve everyday living. Now, people have to be alerted about the difficulty in smaller towns, or people will have to be warned early enough. So that is not being managed by the IMD. They merely forecast about a rainfall, how much, percentage, excess, normal, below, average, etc. But they have to incorporate. Okay. So their forecast is limited as far as the people are concerned, without a wide ranging societal. So societal concern has to be incorporated so that they can be warned earlier. It's warnings to improve everyday living. Now let us look at the questions coming up. Now I have explained the passage to you. There are 12 questions here based on the passage. You have read once, or I have explained once. Okay. What was the main reason for the early arrival of southwest monsoon in Kerala? You remember, I told you there was a turbulence, there was a disturbance in the Arabian Sea, means there were heavy winds. Those winds pushed the monsoon clouds early in the month of May, in the last week of May, into Kerala. So what was the main reason for the early arrival of southwest monsoon in Kerala? The influence of pre-cyclonic. So there was a cyclonic circulation, that is the disturbance, pre-cyclonic. The influence of pre-cyclonic circulation. So this is answer B is the correct one. Regarding the first question, answer B is the correct one. Okay. Second question. According to the IMD, how much above the historical average is the anticipated monsoon rainfall this year. Listen, when I read the first paragraph, I told you there was an average of the past 87. Okay, there was a figure 87 months or 87 years. So, how much more rain was already forecast by the Indian Meteorological Department? It is not 6, it is 5%. 6% is actually the excess rain we have so far received. So, do not mistake 6% with 5%. 5% is the forecast. 6% is what we have received so far, above the normal. So, the right answer is 5%. Question number 3. Which city experienced an early monsoon onset for the first time in 35 years? It is clearly mentioned in the passage a city in Maharashtra, Mumbai. Last, with the history of the onset of monsoon in the last 35 years, they have not received the rainfall as early as May. Which city experienced an early monsoon onset for the first time in 35 years? That is Mumbai. Option number B. How does the Indian Meteorological Department IMD classify rainfall that occurs before June? See, I have explained sufficiently to you that rainfall, the accounting is done like this. Whatever we receive within the period of June 1st to September 30 is considered as the southwest monsoon rainfall. So, whatever is taking place, whatever showers we receive before June 1st is accounted as pre-monsoon. Okay. So, that is, it is mentioned there, it is pre-monsoon. So, whatever rain we receive before June 1st is not recognized as the real monsoon, it is classified as pre-monsoon rainfall. Let us move on to the other questions. What is the synonym of surge? Surge means move forward, rush forward, that is surge. So, give an impact to go forward. So, going forward means increase, not decrease but increase. So, that is the meaning of the word surge, go forward. Okay. What is the antonym of erratic? The meaning of the word error is a mistake. Erratic means which cannot be believed, which can be mistaken. Okay. So, erratic means unstable, unpredictable, inconsistent. So, the opposite is stable. Opposite, antonym. Antonym means opposite meaning. So, opposite word is, so whatever is unstable is erratic. So, whatever is stable is correct, having no error. Question number 7. Which word can replace disconcertingly in the context of the passage? Disconcertingly means alarmingly, worrying, causing trouble, vexation. So, the word is, which word can replace? So, the word is actually alarming. Okay, alarmingly. What is that? Alarmingly. Okay, we causes an alarm. What does the mean portent? Portent is a signal, a warning, a hint about something that is going to take place in the immediate future. So, we get a hint about something. So, it's a warning. It is an early warning. Portent means a warning. Question number 9. What is the tone of the author? Is he optimistic, pessimistic, neutral, cynical or indifferent? He is not pessimist. He is not cynical. He does not say something bad about something. He is not indifferent. He speaks everything about a weather change, whether the citizens of the lower class town should be not. He is quite optimistic actually. He is actually optimistic, not pessimistic but optimistic. What is the primary concern raised by the author about excess rainfall? See, it is good for agriculture. I have already explained. See, India depends. Kharif crop yield depends on the monsoon rainfall we receive during the period of June to September. But there is a bad side to this, that is flooding. So, major cities may be equipped. They have sufficient sewage ways, but Tier 2, it is clearly mentioned Tier 2, Tier 3 towns, that is medium to lower towns. So, urbanization happens. So, people flock into these towns. There is not sufficient sewage system. So, the flood water, the rainwater remains on the roads. So, their mobility is affected. They cannot go out. Okay. So, urban flooding is a real concern. So, worry is about urban flooding. How does the author feel about the progress in monsoon forecasting? In the last paragraph, it was mentioned our IMD department has Indian Meteorological Department was considerably improved. That is mentioned, but at that time it is also written there, they have to take into consideration about the suffering of these urban people. They have not done anything. So they should warn the people about a probable flooding in these towns which are not equipped to deal with the rushing waters. So that has to be incorporated. Taken within the IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, as a warning, as an early sign. So it is a positive development. Okay, they have improved, positive development, but there are limitations. The warning or the early forecast is not sufficient sufficient to warn the people or inform them about a possible flooding. So it is positive, but there is limitation. Question number 12. What underlying message can be inferred from the passage? Okay. So flooding cannot be avoided by people. People live in villages, people live in towns, people live in cities. Now flooding happens everywhere. Village, there may be pond, there may be a riverlet or a main river, so the water will go there, and the village folk are accustomed to that. Cities, they have a good system to absorb water, canals or sewage system is there, but flooding happens in the lower towns. So citizens have to adapt to climate change. It is mentioned erratic climate. One word was there. Erratic means abnormal, not stable, not usual, not normal. So erratic. One year you may receive excess rain, the other year you may not receive the normal rain. So people, the citizens of the country must adapt to climate change impacts. So that is necessary. So that is the message that is delivered by the author in this passage. So these are the answers. Please rework this, means you read this once again and try to get the answers. Compare and contrast each and answer part, each of the options, and then you will get it right. This is a passage regarding one of the Grand Slam tournaments in the world, the French Open. There are details about the players, who is the present champion, who was the previous champion. There are so many details given here. The men's championship is there, the women's championship is there. So there are so many names, so many titles, so many games. So Grand Slams like a US Open, the Wimbledon, the French Open, the Australian Open are all included in your GK part. So this passage is not only important from the part of English comprehension, but you can develop your GK also through this passage. Please pay attention. I will read the passage and explain. The French Open 2025, which got underway on Sunday, at once means both, the meaning is both, seems empty and full of promise. So it seems both empty and full of promise. That is the way you have to read it. It is the first edition without the now retired 14-time champion Rafael Nadal. So he is not in this match, he is retired. 14-time winner, see, 14-time French Open winner, title holder. Now, so the full of promise but empty, the word empty refers to Rafael Nadal. Nostalgia, because Rafael Nadal is not playing in 2025, he is retired, 14-time champion, who had established such a stranglehold in Paris that Roland Garros, that is the name of that court where it is played. So stranglehold means you catch a person by his throat, then you are strangling him, he cannot move. So complete control. Stranglehold in this passage means complete control of the Roland Garros. How many times? 14 times. So a game, a match, or the game here in French Open without Rafael Nadal is empty. He had taken a stranglehold, means complete control of the, see, French Open has a particularity, it has got a clay court. Okay, so that clay court he had the complete control. Okay, Roland Garros, that's the name of the court, during a soul-stirring ceremony on the opening evening, immortalized his footprint quite literally on court Philippe Chatrier. Philippe Chatrier is a person who was in French tennis for a very long time. He was there associated with the French Tennis Association for almost 40 years, long time. So the court is now named after his name, Court Philippe Chatrier, a great player from France. So Roland Garros, that's the name of the court. Now the name of the court is Court Philippe Chatrier. Like you rename the Delhi airport. It was previously known as Palam International Airport. Now it is Indira Gandhi International Airport. So when there are famous persons from countries, the important courts or important airports will be renamed after them. But in his absence, so Rafael Nadal is not there. He is also not there. The field is now open for a new player to stake claim. So who will win? There are so many players. So there is a discussion about the different players. Defending champion. So the latest champion who defends the title is Carlos Alcaraz. Please pay attention to each person. So defending champion, he is there in this game. Defending champion Carlos Alcaraz is the leading candidate and is closely followed by, but he is not, world number one is not Alcaraz. Okay, he is closely followed by world number one Jannik Sinner. Suppose you are asked a question, who is the world number one? World number is Jannik Sinner. So Jannik Sinner is there. He is there on the cards, and he will be opposed by defending champion Carlos Alcaraz. So we have two names. Defending champion is Carlos Alcaraz. World number one is Jannik Sinner. Spaniard Alcaraz. So Alcaraz belongs to Spain. Spaniard Alcaraz has warmed up well. Means he has had recently very many matches. So he has warmed up sufficiently with the Masters title, and in the warming up sessions he has already some titles. Masters title he won in Monte Carlo and Rome, and the Italian Open triumph, which came with a straight set victory over Sinner. So Sinner, imagine, Sinner is world number one, but Alcaraz has won over Sinner in that game. Straight set victory. Sinner in the final, seen as the sounding of the bugle. So the bugle blows sometimes for Alcaraz, we cannot say. So tough match is going to take place between world number one Jannik Sinner and the defending champion Alcaraz. But Sinner, despite the defeat, so that match with the match against Alcaraz, he got a defeat. Despite that defeat, will not be disheartened. He is a strong player. Rome was his first tournament after serving a 3-month doping related suspension. So Rome, he got defeated from Jannik Sinner. But what happened? He got defeated from Alcaraz. See, previous to that, in a doping test, he was declared positive, and related to that he had a temporary suspension period from the games. So after that suspension he came back, and then and a 5-match winning. After that he won a 5-match winning, including 6-0, 6-1 demolition of the 2-time French Open finalist and world number 8 Casper Ruud. So immediately after his suspension period was over, he came into active tennis, and the first match he played was against world number 8 Casper Ruud, in which what a fantastic victory, 6-0, 6-1 over world number 8. That means he is in form, though he was suspended for a short period. Proved that the elite tennis was still part of his muscle memory. Next player, Novak Djokovic, the 24-time major winner. Imagine, 24-time major winner Djokovic is without a slam. But Djokovic is out of, maybe a little out of form, without a slam. Grand Slam, I told you, US Open, Wimbledon, French Open, Australian Open. He is without a Grand Slam since US Open 2023. He has not won any Grand Slam so far after 23. His worst run since 2016-18, but by winning in Geneva last week. So he has also warmed up. Last week he had a match in Geneva and he won that. His 100th tour level title, ATP Tour. ATP Tour is the first class matches in the world, ATP Tour. How many titles? I think no one may come near him. See, 100 tour level title. So ATP rule, first class ATP Tour titles he has won. This is the 100th one, Geneva. So that is an unimaginable feat by any tennis player. He is at least back in the conversation. So people speak, he is also a contestant who can possibly win the French Open. Then next person, Alexander Zverev, a semi-finalist or better for 4 successive years in Paris, will want to shrug off his patchy recent form. His recent form was not good. He will shrug off means leave that. Okay, shrug off his patchy recent form and show that he belongs among the world's best. So there are so many contenders for this title. Alcaraz, defending champion. Jannik Sinner, world number 1. Then you have other persons are also mentioned. So many persons. Severev is there. Okay, so all of them are there going in for the French Open. Now this is men's title. Now coming to the women's part. The women's field is airier. Airier means more space, not less, fewer number of persons, more number of persons, airier than the men's. For 3-time defending champion Iga Swiatek is far from being in the tournament. See, she is 3-time defending champion Iga Swiatek. So what has happened to her? He is far from being in the tournament. She is not in the winning form. And a handful of stars are jostling. What is the meaning of jostling? Competing. So when you move in a multitude, when you walk along with many people, see, not to stay behind, you push them, you move forward. So there are people are competing with each other in a multitude, in a throng, to pass in front of another. So jostling means competing with each other. She is not in a winning form and a handful of stars are jostling to fill up the space, competing. Okay, the Polish player, she is from Poland, the Polish player hands down the best clay court practitioner. So France, I told you, Roland Garros is a clay court. Okay, practitioner among women of the present era, has not even reached the final of a tune-up event. So, but what is wrong with her? She has not tuned up in the recent, not reached the final of any tune-up event. So in the recent matches she has not done well. She has not come up to the final and has an incredibly difficult draw to grapple with. Grapple with means struggle. Okay, she will be struggling. Her principal rival, so who is her arch rival, main rival, world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka, looks primed. So she is trained, she is the prime champion to win, maybe. So that is what the author says, prime to take advantage, even as those like number 2 Coco Gauff, number 4 Jasmine Paoloni, finalist in 2024, and number 7 Qinwen Zheng are snapping at her heels. They are at close heels, means the competition is going to be very tough. So everyone is one after the other. Jostling means competing with each other, snapping at her heels. 3-time major winner Sabalenka is playing the best tennis of her career and made the final in Stuttgart on indoor clay court before bagging the Madrid trophy recently. So Sabalenka is in a very good form. Okay, Italian Open, though without a title in the lead up, Zheng will have happy memories of Paris, a place where she won the 2024 Olympic singles gold medal. An outside bet would be the all-action Jelena Ostapenko, the Roland Garros titleist in 2017, who also triumphed in Stuttgart recently. A victory for her will be in line with the women's tour's propensity to throw up an eclectic array of champions. So there are so many persons mentioned. Some recent winnings, some persons out of form are all mentioned. There is a word here, more area, means there are more persons, more room, more space, more contestants are there in the women's league than in the men's league. So let us move on to the questions. Which player is highlighted as the defending champion in the French Open 2025? It is mentioned in the very first or second sentence. His name is Alcaraz, Carlos Alcaraz. He is the defending champion. Defending champion is Carlos Alcaraz. Okay. Who is the current world number 1? So they are contesting Jannik Sinner. It was also read. When I read, I mentioned the name of Jannik Sinner, who is the current world number 1. Current world number 1. Why is Iga Swiatek facing challenges in the French Open? She is out of form. She is not tuned up. Okay. So she has not reached the finals in tune-up events. Okay. So in the pre-events, she has not sufficiently proved that she is in form. Okay. So question number 4. What significant milestone did Novak Djokovic? It was mentioned there 24 championships, 24 championship titles. But more than that, See, ATP tournament, first class ATP tournament, he completed his 100th tour level title. That is very exceptional, 100th tour level title. So option number B. What is the synonym of demolition? See, we are familiar with the term demolishing a building. Demolition means utterly, completely, fully you are bringing it down. So demolition of a person means fully, thoroughly beating him. Demolition means completely destroying. Complete destruction, a word is annihilation. Wipe out completely, erase completely, defeat completely. So that is annihilation. What is the antonym of the word airier? So this room is airier means it's more free. It's not, many people are not inside. So airier means quite free. So in the women's title this word is mentioned. There are so many persons there. Okay, accommodation. So opposite, antonym is crammed. So when a room is full of people, it is not airier, it is crammed, it is cuddled, it is too many people. Okay. Question number 7. Which word is synonym of grapple? Grapple, the word grapple normally comes with a preposition, grapple with. Grapple with is a phrase which means you have to deal with or struggle with. Okay, to take control of it or to make your way, you have to grapple with means you have to put in a lot of effort. So that is struggle. The meaning of the word is struggle. Take effort. What is the antonym of jostling? I told you, jostling is, see, while we move with a crowd, what happens? So suppose there is an exhibition or a show, there will be multitude of people, lot of people. So you have to push your way. So you hit against each other, that is jostling, rubbing against each other's shoulders and making your way. So in a competition here in French Open, when the word jostling is used, it means competing. Now the antonym is supporting. You have no support when you are jostling. Jostling means you are competing with each other or rubbing against each other, making your way, struggling. The opposite is you are free, you are getting a support. So competing, not competing or contesting, it is supporting. What does the author convey when discussing the absence of Rafael Nadal? There was a word mentioned in the first sentence, that is empty. Roland Garros is this time empty. Why the word empty was used? So there was a word which says there is a lot of enthusiasm. Immediately it is followed by the word empty, because this is the first time that retired champion Rafael Nadal is not there. So that is nostalgia. When you miss something, it is called nostalgia. You feel when you stay in a hostel, you are far away from your home, you feel about the nice things you have had at home. So then that emotion takes place, overwhelms you. That feeling is called nostalgia. Absence of something, missing something is called nostalgic. How does the author describe the potential competition among women's players? So there are so many women. See, there is a word snapping at the heels given in the passage, means one after the other, they are all energetic. So the word dynamic, there is a lot of enthusiasm, vigor, vitality, everyone is in the fray. So that word competition, potential competition among women players is very dynamic. Question number 11. What is the overall sentiment expressed regarding the 2025 French Open? If you read from the start, which says about the exception, non-inclusion of this great player Rafael Nadal, but for that, except for that, there are so many contestants. World number 1, defending champion. So from the start to the end, there are a lot of players being mentioned, both on the men's side and on the women's side, except for the great personality in French Open, that is Rafael Nadal. So you have to include both sentiment. Sentiment, you have positive sentiment, but also some nostalgic sentiment. So we can say excitement with a sense of loss. There is a lot of excitement, but with a sense of loss because somebody is missing. Okay, so we have analyzed this. Now go through this passage at your convenience, then go through the options given. Then you compare the options and find out which is correct. I have ticked some of the right ones, not some, all of the right ones. Why? What is the reason? I have explained. Please go through and get convinced yourself. Now regarding the French Open women's title competition. So there is a competitor called Iga Swiatek. So what is her chances? How does the author seem to feel about Iga's chances in the tournament? See, she did not prove herself in any of the recent medium type games finals. She did not even come up to the final, means doubtful, very much doubtful about her performance. Very much doubtful about her performance. Okay, so that's the last question. We will go to the next question, next passage immediately after this. Okay, let's move on to the other next passage. See, as all of you know, the Bangladesh regime governmental form has been toppled. Now Mohammad Yunus is in fact a great person. He has won a Nobel Prize and so on. But the regime, the governance there is now in a difficult, tough situation. That is explained here. Mohammad Yunus is in charge of the interim government. So what are the disturbances in the form of government existing in Bangladesh is discussed in this passage. Please pay attention. Tensions between Bangladesh's interim government, so the present government is interim for the time being, led by Mohammad Yunus, and the military, so assistance by the military, are no longer a secret. So that's known to the public. It's not a secret anymore. On Monday, that's May 26, 2025, an army spokesman, so somebody who tells about something about the form of government, about the governance there. Who is the spokesperson? Army spokesperson publicly voiced opposition to the government's proposal. So even though the army is supporting Mohammad Yunus's government, an army spokesperson, a person from the army, has opposed. Okay, voiced opposition to the government's proposal to open. So what does he oppose? Humanitarian corridor to Myanmar's conflict on Rakhine state. So there is a Rakhine state and there is some humanitarian problems there, exodus of persons from there. Bangladesh offered help, or Bangladesh invited them. If they are in such a bad situation, dire situation, they can come. So Myanmar and Bangladesh are quite close. Okay, so that was opposed. That decision of the government, Mohammad Yunus's government, was opposed by whom? A person from the military. Army spokesperson publicly voiced opposition. Regarding what? Regarding the government's proposal to open a humanitarian corridor to Myanmar's conflict on Rakhine state, home to the persecuted Rohingyans. Rohingyans are there in the news for a long time now. The government's plan is to supply medicines and other aid, but the military believes it would pose a significant security challenge. The army prevents the government from supplying medicines because of security measures. Last week, Bangladesh Army Chief General Waqar-uz-Zaman expressed concerns about several of the government's initiatives. Actually, the government is taking several initiatives, but it is being opposed by certain persons, particularly military persons. So, general means he is up in the order of military. A general, Waqar-uz-Zaman, expressed concerns about several of the government initiatives, including the so-called humanitarian corridor. So, army spokesperson General Waqar-uz-Zaman expressed their concern about security problems. So this is a humanitarian corridor, but they don't want the potential foreign management of Chottogram port. So one problem is human exodus, people from Rohingyans from Myanmar coming into Bangladesh, or Bangladesh supplying medicines to them. Second one is called humanitarian corridor, the potential foreign management of Chottogram port. Okay, so that port will act as a humanitarian corridor, so they can come in through that corridor. So that was a big problem which was aroused by Waqar-uz-Zaman. And the introduction of Starlink. Then another one which he spoke about, another one which he contradicted, was the introduction of Starlink, Elon Musk satellite internet service. He also urged the government to hold early elections. So another thing this army spokesman, this general said, is that it is not proper for an interim government to continue for a long time. Hold elections as early as possible. Urged the government, requested the government to hold early elections for a stable elected government. So the government by Mohammad Yunus is an interim government that's not elected. He has taken charge with the support of army. Okay, so they need a stable elected government, so go in for elections. That's what Wakar Usman general told the interim government Muhammad Yunus that he is capable of making decisions related to national security. So only a stable government can take decisions about what the country needs. Amid the growing rift, speculations swirled in Dhaka last week that Mr. Yunus might step down. So there is some opposition to the present Yunus government. Everyone does not like an interim government to go on for a long time. So there is opposition from very many parts. Now main opposition was given by General Wakar Usman. All this there. So there is disturbance. So Yunus might step down. This is a gossip actually. He is still there in office. Later, a cabinet member said that Mr. Yunus is staying with us, but the army's subsequent press conference suggests that the Cold War is far from over. So there may be a tussle there. Okay. When Mr. Yunus, backed by student groups, students are with Mr. Yunus, took over as the chief advisor of the interim government. So his status is not that of a prime minister, chief advisor of the interim government on August 8. So when did he take charge as the advisor of the interim government? August 8, 2024. 3 days after the fall of the Hasina administration. So Hasina, I think, took shelter in India. She came over to India because of the turmoil there, and then Muhammad Yunus was at the center of events there. So Muhammad Yunus, backed by student groups, when did he take charge? Took over as the chief advisor of the interim government on August 8, 2024. 3 days after the fall of Hasina administration, he promised to lead Bangladesh into a new dawn of democracy. So that is his promise. We will be a democratic nation from the semi-authoritarian years of the Awami League. So the ruling party's name is Awami League. Now it is not there. They are not allowed. Maybe if there is elections, then Awami League may contest. Now it is interim government. Okay. But 9 months on, he is still struggling to stabilize the country and rein in the mobs. So the mobs are uncontrolled. So they have to rein it. They have it to be harnessed. They have to be quelled. Okay, peace should exist there. So interim government is there for 9 years. Still everyone is worried. The government's crackdown on the Awami League. So when there was a retaliation from the Awami League, the repression was cracked down. What do you mean by crackdown? Suppress, repress, oppress, bring it down. Understand? Quell them. Okay. So crackdown on the Awami League, one of Bangladesh's largest political parties, has further eroded means taken away, the hopes for inclusive elections. Inclusive means everyone coming into the elections, everyone participating, all inclusive. So everyone included. Okay. Inclusive elections, most of the party's senior leaders are either in exiles. So what has happened to Awami League? The top leaders of the Awami League are afraid of the punishment maybe, or some repression from the side of the ruling interim government. So they have gone in exile. They have fled away from the state. They are hiding somewhere. Okay. Most of the leaders and are in Awami League. Most of the party's senior leaders are either in exile or in hiding, while hundreds of party workers have been killed. So many party workers have been killed. Their main party leaders have somewhere gone underground, hiding elsewhere in exile. Most of the party's senior leaders are in exile or hiding, while hundreds of party workers have been killed. Earlier this month, the interim government, so that is the interim mid-government before the next election, officially banned the Awami League. See what has happened. This government has officially, what is that? Banned. So Awami League is not to be there. They should not function, yielding to pressure from the student leaders and Islamist factions. So the turmoil or the upheaval of Sheikh Hasina's regime, the main proponents are the students and the party, Islamist faction. Mr. Yunus and his allies, including the National Citizen Party. So Yunus's party is known as the National Citizen Party, established by student leaders after Mr. Hasina's fall, claim that elections can be held only by mid next year. So the army spokesperson, General Sheikh Wakar Usman, they all want elections to be conducted as early as possible. But the student leaders, with the help of Muhammad Yunus, they say that elections can be held only by mid next year. That means it will prolong, citing the need for electoral and political reforms. So some reforms have to be made in between. Maybe Awami League will be banned permanently, who knows. But the continued delay. So many people are worried about the continuing delay has sparked protests. So there are a lot of protests by the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, both state and drawn public criticism. So the Bangladesh Nationalist Party is opposed to this and drawn public criticism from the military. So military is criticizing, this is not justice, this is not right, you have to hold elections as early as possible. By postponing the elections, suppressing the Awami League, using both state and non-state tools. Actually, they want to prevent Awami League party leaders coming into elections. So they don't want to give the rule of Bangladesh again back to Awami League. So prevented that. Suppressing the Awami League, using both state and non-state tools, and failing to restrain the mobs. Mr. Yunus, an unelected leader. Remember, Yunus is an advisor, he is not an elected leader. Okay, and unelected leader is steering Bangladesh into deepening chaos. So prolonging the elections, not going in for a stable government is actually a wrongdoing to the citizens of Bangladesh. So what will this cause? Prolonging elections in Bangladesh into deepening chaos, turmoil, trouble and uncertainty. So what is the future? Nobody knows. What Bangladesh urgently needs is a stable, legitimate ruler means one who is elected into power. So what Bangladesh needs is a stable, legitimate government with a clear popular mandate. So you give a will. The will of the people is exercised in voting. So the people are instructing, okay, let these persons rule us. So under their instruction, under their will, under their mandate, not according to the intentions or fancies of some others. The interim government and all relevant stakeholders must prioritize holding inclusive every citizen of Bangladesh, whether they belong to Awami League, National Party or else. Inclusive, free and fair elections. It should be done in a just manner. Okay, at the earliest possible opportunity. So now the interim government is prolonging, but instead they should hold it as early as possible, earliest possible opportunity, ensuring the participation of all political factions, means including Awami League. Now let us go into the questions. Who voiced opposition to the government's proposal humanitarian corridor? So we heard that some person from army, an unidentified army person, brought an opposition. So who voiced opposition to the government's proposal to open a humanitarian corridor to Myanmar's Rakhine state? It's not unspecified, so nobody knows who he is, but he is an army spokesperson. Second question. What is one of the concerns expressed by Army Chief General Waqar Saman? There are some points mentioned there. Delay in elections. He said hold elections. Then crackdown on political parties. Management of Chattogram. Okay, this was quite an important point. Okay, the management of Chattogram port, the delay in elections. Concerns expressed. Yes, actually, it can be either B or C. Let us prioritize B if it is possible. Okay, B or C can be the options because both are mentioned by the general. Okay, question number 3. When did Muhammad Yunus take over as the chief advisor? That date was given 3 days after, that is August 8, 2024, clearly mentioned in the passage. He took over as the chief advisor and army supported him, students supported him. What has been the fate of many senior leaders? It is clearly mentioned, senior leaders of the Awami League party. There are 2 words, exile or hiding. 2 words are mentioned there. So they are hiding. If they open up from somewhere, if they come into light, they may be killed. So they are afraid of their lives. Okay, they are in hiding or in exile. Exile means they went away, ran away. That is called exile. Okay, to another place, not in their homeland, somewhere else. So they are in hiding. Senior leaders of the Awami League party. Which word is synonym for volatile? Volatile means something that is can evaporate, change its states. It's very much unstable, uncertain. That is volatile. So synonym can be stable is opposite of volatile. So synonym is uncertain, not chaotic. Actually, chaotic means causing confusion. So it is uncertain. The state is not certain. It can be liquid or it can be vapor, whatever. What is the antonym of crackdown? So the police will crack down on some gangs, means they will take action, suppress them. Understand? So gangsters fighting, then police will take it into their hands, then go after them, chase them, maybe put them behind the bars, put them in locks, beat them up also sometimes. Understand? Crackdown means strictly suppressing them. So suppressing or repression or suppressing is synonym. We need antonym. Antonym is police is not doing, they are restraining, keeping control, not going to act against them. That is called restraint, preventing themselves. Which word is closest to the meaning? Closest to the meaning means synonym. Inclusive. Inclusive means everyone is there, all inclusive. Okay, so there is a word called comprehensive. Comprehensive means taking all parts into consideration. That is called comprehensive. So the synonym of the word inclusive is comprehensive. What is the antonym? Antonym means opposite. See, there was a word mentioned there, the mandate of the people, the will of the people, what the people really want. So that is, the people are giving, assigning their will. So that is an instruction from the people. So the people are actually instructing. Okay, this is our will, we want this party, we want these persons. Okay, opposite is antonym, discretion. So the ruling party, the interim government cannot, discretion means at their will, as they like. Discretion means as they like. So they cannot do as they like, they have to do according to the instruction given, according to the instruction given. Instruction is given by the people when they exercise franchise, when they go for voting, they instruct, this is the party, these are the leaders whom we like, not as they like. That is called a discretion. So the antonym is discretion. Now let us look at question number 9. What tone? So sometimes in reading comprehension passages, you are asked theme of the passage, tone of the author, etc. So critical tone may be there, argumentative tone may be there, biased tone may be different. Tone means while you read the passage, you come to understand, is it criticism, is it optimism? Tone. Okay, what is the tone? What tone does the author adopt regarding the interim government, about the interim government actions? So it is not optimistic because they are not conducting elections on time. They have banned the Awami League party. So he is not optimistic about what the interim government is going to do. So it is highly critical. Not indifferent means you are not taking anything into consideration. You are keeping aloof, you are not worried. They are not indifferent, but they are critical. The author is critical about the interim government's actions. What does the author imply about the future of Bangladesh? Now, in the last paragraph, we can see that both Mohammad Yunus and the student group, they are not taking any active initiative to conduct elections. When is the elections going to come? As given in the passage, they say they will hold the election next year mid-time. That means it is prolonged to 1.25 years. So they are not very much interested. So that is not a positive tone. So the author speaks about that, imply about the future of Bangladesh. So the immediate future of Bangladesh is not seen to be good. Okay, it will lead to deeper chaos, confusion. Will elections take place? Will Awami League come back into power, or will they be banned? Will many army chiefs be shot? Who knows? It will lead to deeper chaos and uncertainty. That is the result of all these actions. How does the author feel about the delays in holding elections? Is it good? It is actually very bad. So delaying elections, they indicate a lack of responsibility. So if a country needs to have a stable government, it is the duty of the ruling front, even if it is an interim government, to hold elections. That is their responsibility, to bring a stable government. So this indicates that there is a lack of responsibility. What is the primary message that the author wants to convey about the need for elections? Primary concern. Okay, message about the necessity for elections in Bangladesh. See, Elections are essential for a legitimate government. So you can call a legitimate government one enacted by law. According to law, you have to elect them. So elections are essential, necessary. That is the message given by the author about holding elections in Bangladesh. You may go through these questions, the answers, the passage, and about the ticked ones, whether they are correct. They are correct only, but you can verify yourself about all the answers which I have ticked over here. Go through the passage, get yourself fully convinced about this. Okay, this session ends with this passage. Now we have had 4 passages in this session, and there were very many explanatory guidelines given to you, and we have reached several answers. You will have to rework this, and also it is a welcome thing that if you have any suggestions, please mark them in the comment box. That will do a great lot to improve the next video we will be doing. Thanks once again.